So Abram said to Lot, "Please let there be no strife between you and me, nor between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers." I love this. Verse 8 is quickly becoming one of my most favorite passages in the Bible. Before Abraham does anything, he takes a minute to clearly articulate what is truly of value. He says, things should not be this way. Why? Because we are family. We are going to solve this problem because whatever the issue is, it does not hold a candle to the love that we ought to have for one another. Now, I've said this before, but conflicts do arise in the church. And man, if we would take this mindset, hey, whatever it is, we're going to figure it out. Because you and I are family. Abraham's not out to gain the upper hand. He's not out to try to gain possession of the land. His goal is to save the relationship. His goal is peace, which is exactly what our goal should be. When you look at Scripture, Matthew 5:9, one of my favorite verses, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God." These are the attributes of someone who is like God. They look for ways to find peace. Paul tells us in Romans 12:18, "If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all." Abraham gets it. He gets what is important. And out of this mindset of peace, and out of love for his nephew, Abraham's going to do something truly incredible. Abraham is going to lay down his rights. Let's keep reading in verse 9. This is Abraham talking to Lot. He says, "Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me. If to the left, then I will go to the right. Or if to the right, then I will go to the left." So Abraham goes up to Lot and says, "Look, you have the whole land in front of you. You get to pick the best spot. Whatever you decide, I will go the other way. Lot, you get to have the last piece of cake." And what makes this gesture so incredible are verses 1 and 5. Look really quick at verses 1 and 5. Who goes with who? Lot goes with Abraham. Abraham did not go with Lot. For lack of a better phrase, Lot is riding on Abraham's coattails. It is Abraham who has been called to this land. It is Abraham who is the leader of this caravan. And not only that, but Abraham is Lot's family elder, which I understand doesn't mean what it should in American culture, but in ancient Mesopotamia, this meant everything. What Abraham does here is unheard of. Abraham could have easily pulled rank, and he could have said, "Lot, but this is not working out. There's not enough space. You have to go back home." Easily could have done that and been justified. He also could have pulled rank, but with a little bit of kindness, and Abraham could have said, "Lot, you can stay, but it needs to be at these specific areas. You have to stay within these borders. I'll take everything else." That would have been seen as an incredible gesture of kindness, given the situation and the rank that Abraham had. But Abraham doesn't do that. In a true spirit of fellowship and love, considering Lot as more important than himself, Abraham humbles himself and lays down his rights, lays down his position and his rank. Lot, you choose. You choose the best spot. What does fellowship look like in the church today? It looks like Abraham. It looks like putting others' needs before your own, and at times even giving up the upper hand or the position or the rank that you have for the sake of peace and relationship. And you know what may be the best part about what Abraham does here? Abraham acted in love and humility regardless of how Lot responded. Abraham had already made up his mind that he was going to love Lot by submitting to his preference no matter what Lot decided to do. Because if you keep reading, you'll see that Lot takes full advantage of Abraham's kindness. Lot is going to look out on the land and is going to choose the most fertile land that he can see. He's going to choose the whole Jordan Valley. And Abraham doesn't retract his offer. He's not like, Lot, that was a test and you failed. But he fully submits to Lot's preference. Lot does not return the kindness. If you think about it, what should have been Lot's response? I can think of two. My first thought is, Abraham, no. You are our leader. You have allowed our family to join you. You have taken care of us. You choose. We'll take whatever's left. To me, that seems like an appropriate response. Another response may have been, hey, we don't need to separate. I will tell my herdsmen to back down. You guys this is your party. You get first rights, first priority to everything, and we'll get to these places when we can. I think that too would have been an acceptable response. But it's not what Lot does. He takes advantage of Abraham's kindness, and you know what? Sometimes, even here at the church, you are going to be taken advantage of. We are all capable of it. We are all capable of taking advantage of each other. We all mess up, and I don't think it's purposeful most of the time. It's just that we get so focused on ourselves and so focused on number one, we often don't look to see how our decisions impact other people. This is why we are in desperate need of forgiveness and mercy and grace for each other on this side of heaven. So let me encourage you. Continue to love, continue to fellowship, follow Abraham's example, and don't allow your love and fellowship to be dependent upon the actions or reactions of other people. Because if you do, you're going to find yourself offended, and then you're going to find yourself embittered, and before you know it, you're going to find yourself on the third or fourth church in as many years, or you're going to find yourself out of the church altogether. And that's a scary place to be. So back to our driving question, I'm going to start to wrap things up. What does it look like to have true fellowship as a church body? And I think when we really look at this account of Abraham, we can start to answer that question in a few ways. First, as I mentioned before, fellowship starts in our hearts and our minds. Consider others as more important than yourself. If we can't do that, fellowship's going to be very difficult. Right? Abraham cares for Lot's needs more than his own in this passage. Fellowship prioritizes peace and relationship over personal gain. Abraham says there should be no strife between us. His goal is peace. Fellowship speaks gently in moments of disagreement. Look at the words that Abraham uses. Right? He says, hey, there should be no strife because you and I are brothers. You and I are kinsmen. You and I are family. He's appealing to the good nature in Lot. He's appealing with words of gentleness. When in reality, being in the position that he had, he could have come straight Stanley Hudson at Lot and done something like this.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Boy, have you lost your mind, because I'll help you find it. What you're looking for, ain't nobody going to help you out there. Jesus can come through that door and he's not going to help you if you don't stop sniffing after my child.
Okay. Stanley yelled at me today. That was one of the most frightening experiences of my life.
Abraham could have done that, but he chose to speak with words of gentleness. Fellowship is willing to give up rights and position if necessary. If you take the left hand, Lot, I will go to the right. He gives Lot first priority, lays down his position, lays down his rights. Now, I want to be careful This doesn't mean compromising on truth. Does that make sense? We should not compromise on truth for the sake of relationship. If you believe that Jesus is just one of many ways, well, I'm not going to salvation. I'm not going to say, okay, everything's still okay. No, Jesus is the only way. He's the way, the truth, and the life. But when it comes to preferences, material things, these types of things that are logistics that come to us in the church, we got to be ready to lay those things down, regardless of position. Fellowship isn't dependent on the reaction of others. So Lot chose for himself all the Jordan Valley. Again, Abraham did not retract his offer. Whatever Lot chose to do, Abraham had already made up in his mind he was going to love and submit to Lot. Fellowship is faithful to share the resources God has given you to take care of others. And Lot, who went with Abraham. Now, Abraham's brother, Lot's father, had passed away. This is why Lot and his family is traveling with Abraham. Abraham allows Lot to come with him. He's taking care of him. And even when this problem arises, he still shares the land. He still shares the resource, even though he could have justifiably told Lot to go home. This is a practice that we find in the early church. Acts 4:32. All the believers were one in heart and mind. No one claimed that any of their possessions was their own, but they shared everything they had. In other words, if I have the ability and I have the resources to help you, I should help you. That is what Christian love is about, using these resources. And I think sometimes we believe the lie that we have to do these grand gestures of sacrifice or grand gestures of kindness for fellowship to exist between us, and that's not the truth. Do the small things. Whatever God has given you, just use them to help other people. Luke 16:10, one who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. Share the gifts and resources you have to help others. And it can be the smallest of things.
Hey guys, if you like this content, please consider subscribing for more.